Up until now, I've only purchased Altra trail shoes, specifically their Lone Peak line, but Altra has quite the robust road shoe lineup. I had many questions before buying these shoes, such as, is this a daily trainer, a tempo shoe, and if I like it overall, where will it fit in my rotation? I hope to answer those questions and more for you by the end of the video. It's time to run in the Altra Rivera 3. Now, to save you time and to get you all the answers you're looking for, I do most of the research so you don't have to do it all on your own. That's one of the core values of my channel. In addition, I've outlined the chapters to give you the dignity of choice and to make it easy for you to find your specific points of interest, be it the outsole, midsole foam, etc. Toward the end of the video, I'll give an assessment of how I felt like the shoe performed and if I plan on using it in the future. So please be sure to stick around for those highlights. After the disclosures, I'll be covering a few of the common items seen in a lot of these shoe reviews, such as upper, colorways, overlays, midsole, foam, outsole, etc. So feel free to skip around using the chapters if you like, but I do hope you stick around for all the points. I put a lot of work in these videos, so it means a lot if I see people are watching them from start to finish. Thank you so much. Now let's start those disclosures. So I bought these shoes online with my own money. These observations and opinions are my own, and no one gets to preview, edit, or provide feedback prior to me posting this video here on YouTube, and no one else is paying me to review these shoes or to make the video. I'm not sponsored by Altra or any of the brands seen or mentioned in the video. Lastly, if you're interested in purchasing any of the products you see in the video, please check out my affiliate links. And because it doesn't add any additional cost to you using the links, please be sure to check out the affiliate link below if you plan on making a purchase. Thank you so much. My name is Joel, and this is the Time to Run channel. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Altra Rivera 3. All right, let's cover the specs. This says 28 millimeters from heel to toe. Of course, true with all Altra shoes, there's zero drop. This is a neutral shoe. It's considered a daily trainer, but it also goes well on some of my speed days. I've done a lot of runs with intervals and strides, and they perform beautifully, not taking much effort to get me up to those threshold and tempo paces. And lastly, for the specs, there are no full carbon plate, composite, or TPU plates in the shoe. Probably not much of a surprise. Starting with the colorway, Altra offers 3 colorways. This is their gray-yellow colorway, and the others for men's are black, and then there's a white-orange. So the overlays are very simple here. Really, there's just this Altra logo and this reflective strip here in the back. I don't know if I can catch it with the light here. There we go, some reflective. They like to keep it minimal. I appreciate that, simple here, while also making a beautiful shoe overall. All right, next I'm going to cover the upper and the sizing, as I think that for this shoe, they go hand in hand. At least they do for me. The upper is made of a very flexible material constructed of breathable layered mesh with print detailing. The layered mesh is exactly how it sounds. There are portions that you can see additional layers when holding the shoe up to the light, showing an otherwise nearly invisible Altra logo. The rest of the shoe is uniformly the same regarding the upper. So this is my first pair of Altras that didn't come with the original foot shape fit, and instead it was with their regular. This fit was not true to size. I did have to go up a half size because I was warned about this being a narrow fit. I agreed with the sales rep at Run More. Thank you very much. The sales rep recommended I go up a half size to the 12.5. Here's what gets a little complicated. At the time of recording this video, there are no options to purchase the Rivera 3 in a wide or the favored original foot shape fit. The Rivera only comes with the slim, yes, slim foot shape fit, which simply feels closer to a regular fit width. I, for one, would have loved to buy these in an original foot shape fit. The big issue I found with the upper was a significant amount of rubbing on my right foot, on the top side and on the bottom side of my toe. It became uncomfortable on long run sessions. I spent a lot of mental energy trying to keep my toe away from the area of the shoe. And I would say, because of the time I wrote this, I was using some toe socks, and when I went away from the toe socks, the actual fit became a lot more comfortable. So I guess in this instance, if you have chafing issues with your toes, maybe reconsider using toe socks with this pair of shoes. Once I got rid of the toe socks, or stopped using them, I didn't throw them away, I still use them for different shoes. But once I stopped using toe socks for these shoes, the fit was perfect and I didn't have any more issues. Moving on to the tongue, unlike the Lone Peak 7, which had one piece that extended from this upper section here all the way to the top, it's visually separated at the base of the tongue here from the upper. There's no gusset on this shoe, which required a little bit of finagling. It's fairly padded, which is good for getting a good lockdown, dialed in while being confident I won't over tighten up as well. Let's move on to the laces. These laces are very slippery. It almost has a similar feel and texture as if it was oil and water. This is what I mean by slippery. So whenever I went to go tie the laces, I take for granted that the lacing and eyelets will help to keep them in place. But these are different. The eyelet walls loosen and release themselves, therefore I have to keep the laces taut while proceeding with a normal lace tying process. It seems just very counterproductive. I was hoping for something a little bit less slippery, I guess. Something that would hold eyelet walls in place while I continue the lacing process. This made getting a good lockdown pretty difficult. So let's move on to the midsole. The Rivera Ego midsole foam performs magnificently in temperatures above 40 degrees Fahrenheit. But once it drops down below 40, and especially in freezing temperatures, the midsole begins to stiffen just a little bit, therefore making the overall run experience a noticeable contrast to those in warmer temperatures. I went on several runs below freezing, and truth be told, when I found myself wanting a softer midsole, what I really wanted was warmer temps. When I started running indoors on my treadmill during inclement weather, or outside on those rare warm days in the winter, it was a really nice ride overall. So on those warmer days, the midsole absorbs impact, as well as being poppy with the responsiveness. Meanwhile, the shoe really takes on a different persona for speedier sessions. I found myself enjoying those daily miles with interval sessions wedged in the middle. I can certainly see these even on easy days, as I have done. To me, these seem to fit in the spectrum of daily trainer to tempo. The runs with strides or intervals sprinkled throughout your daily runs. Great for the forefoot and midfoot strikers like myself. I had no trouble rolling through each stride or taking them on down-tempo days. This shoe is very comfortable overall, especially when Altra classifies it as a moderately cushioned shoe. With many daily trainers, after a run, I'm typically quick to pull the shoes off. I found myself leaving them on while I was prepping my post-run meals or stretching, something where normally I would have removed them right after I entered the house. And the nice thing was I experienced zero foot fatigue underfoot after I ran these. All right, let's move on back to the heel. The heel counter is very supportive where it counts and gets out of the way when you need it. There is a nice padded portion, but not enough that crowds out my ankle or heel. All right, let's move on to the insole. It's a fairly thin insole that's removable. Even though I didn't grab your typical runner's inserts to test, there does seem to be enough room so long as you're not using an overly chunky insert. I'm not necessarily the best person to ask regarding the orthopedic inserts or any other kind of inserts for that matter. Although I've tested the inserts in the past, I don't use them myself and I don't foresee trying them in the future. As far as the arch support, these are not meant for those who have been diagnosed with arch support needs. Those of you who do, Altra's website directs you toward the Paradigm or the Provision models. So let's go ahead and talk about the outsole. On the outsole, we have a combination of their rubber outsole, colored here in yellow, as well as this gray inner flex, which is unlike the Olympus where it is used as the midsole. Here we have it being used in these gray portions of the pads of the channels of the outsole, which makes it a softer, more cushioned ride while matching the same texture patterns as the yellow outsole rubber. Now, given that the initial 40 miles, I think I'm actually at 50 miles at this point, on the Rivera 3 are only showing minimal indications of wear, I'm optimistic that this will be a very durable outsole for the long haul. Typically, as far as it depends on me, the most vulnerable portion of the outsole wear can be seen here on the lateral portion of the outsole. And while there is some wear, I'm very optimistic that this will be potentially lasting me at or above 400 miles. Or more if you're below 200 pounds. This is a really positive sign, especially as a daily trainer. How did it feel like running in these shoes? Like I said earlier, it's considered a daily trainer, but it also did really well on some of those speed days. I've done a lot of runs with intervals and strides kind of intermingled in between, and they performed beautifully. And it didn't take much effort at all to get me up to those threshold and tempo paces. So overall, I really feel like it works well in many contexts, such as tempo day shoes. It performed well during my interval sessions. And lastly, I found it was definitely a comfortable enough ride for some of those middle distance, maybe even longer sessions as well. But in conclusion, where will these fit in my rotation? To be honest, I don't believe I'll be reaching for these too often. Even though the shoe has some versatility, I just don't see myself reaching for it as my primary trainer. There are other more exciting shoes I'd rather put daily miles in. But if you love zero drop shoes and you love the look of these, I think they'd work great for you. But as for me, it could be that I just don't really care that much about running in zero drop shoes anymore. In my opinion, they just don't have the pull power a shoe with both stack height and drop have these days. I'll certainly be putting in miles with these here and there, but even alternatively, I have thought of also simply using these more as a super comfortable walking shoe instead. So that concludes my review of the Altra Rivera 3. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know by hitting the like button if you did, and please consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, and if anybody asks you what your favorite running YouTube channel is, just tell them it's time to run.